Hey, I got an opinion, and I'm gonna say what's on my mind. You might not agree, it's cool. I'm one of a kind. Trying to move forward, so I gotta be progressive. Gotta make sure everything I say is selective. It's only my opinion. Coffee milk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Cleon. As you can see, we have Jacob over there. I don't even know what direction to point, but Jake is over to one of my sides, either left or right. And we have Bianca down. That's in my screen. That's where you are, Bianca. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's called Coffee Milk. And every week we're going to bring you our opinions on the stories in the news. First thing we're going to start with is, how's life going with everybody? How's everyone's life flowing? Jake, how about you? I know you just made you just did a whole big move thing. So how's that going?
Yeah, so I just moved back to Providence from Boston. I'm a coronavirus casualty. I was in the travel industry before everything popped off, and obviously I lost my job because there's no travel anymore. So
What did
what
you
was
do
that?
specifically?
I had just gotten a job, actually, ironically. I had just gotten a job selling basically high-end luxury Middle Eastern tours to rich
Yeah, you look
people.
like the type.
Exactly. But I lived in the Middle East for 5 years. I was a journalist over there during the Arab Spring. So it was actually really good because I've been trying to get something Middle East focused since I moved back. So it was a great opportunity, but that's gone. So now I'm moving back to Providence and podcasting with you guys. So that's pretty sweet.
What drives you to want to go to the Middle East and work like that? That seems like putting your life in a lot of danger for your work, for your job.
Yeah, it was dangerous. It was definitely dangerous, and that's why I stopped eventually. And not only was it dangerous, but occasionally you'd see really traumatizing things. But I've always been interested in foreign cultures, and I mean, we all are about the same age. I graduated in the height of the Great Recession, so I just went over to Tunisia to teach English, and the revolutions broke out there. And it's kind of a long story, but I was able to become a TV and print journalist, and it was something I'd always fantasized about. It was like joining like the NBA or the NFL for a normal kid. So I just really loved it, and yeah, it was great. A great experience. Well, like you said, very dangerous, and safer back home.
For real. I don't, because it always boggles my mind, like what makes a human being decide that, you know what I want to do for a living? I want to go to like a developing country where they have lots of conflict, and I want to bring that information to my people. Like that's a lot.
I kind of fell into it. I wanted to learn Arabic, so I was teaching English in Tunisia when a revolution happens, and basically they just needed English speakers. They needed handsome English speakers in
Yeah, that's
Tunisia.
it. Yeah, that's it.
And I just got really lucky because during the revolution, of course, foreigners couldn't come in. So I just happened to be there, and it was good money. I got to see the world. But yeah, no, I mean, I did feel a little morally. It was a little morally ambiguous because like I was a foreigner telling kind of their story, and a lot of people there did not appreciate that. Absolutely, and that definitely both added to the danger and just added to like the feeling of like what am I doing in my life. Yeah, it was an
Sorry,
ambiguous thing, but I enjoyed it.
can you repeat that? They did not what? I didn't hear you because you kind of.
Yeah, a lot of folks, I was working entirely in the Arab world, and naturally there's a lot of skepticism of just Arabs generally, of
American.
just yeah, for Americans, for Westerners, and it's understandable. And they know that often white journalists from America kind of don't treat Arabs well, like they don't treat them fairly. And there was just an assumption that I was going to be like that. And I'm sure, I mean, there were times when I wish I misreported things, and I wish I could have done better. But generally, I think I tried to give everyone a fair shake. But regardless, people just assumed I wasn't going to. And even if I was giving people a fair shake, I started to think that there were enough English speaking
Right.
Arab folks who could tell their story. So, but I mean, ultimately, I mean, I did love the job, like whatever moral ambiguities I felt about it. It was an amazing job. I got to meet all these important people at all these really exciting events. I got shot at a bunch, all sorts of stuff, and it was just an experience for my 20s.
That part.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Getting shot at part.
you see a lot of the worst and the best.
I don't know if he froze. It seems like he froze.
Did I freeze?
So, anyways, Bianca. I don't know if you guys know Bianca's also going to be hosting with Jake. You were. I don't know. You froze. I don't know if
we've talked enough about me. We've talked enough about me. Let's go on to Bianca. I'm blushing over here.
Thank you. So Bianca is going to be the goddess on our show. I've known Bianca for a very long time. I've seen Bianca when she was like a kid, and now she's like a mom. So I'm excited and we were on a show previously before this too. So I'm excited to have conversations with Bianca every week. As you could see from how she framed herself, look at that, professional. Look how, compared to Jake.
What about me? Come on now.
Jake looks like he's in an attic somewhere. and Bianca's just got the lighting perfect. Oh my God, lovely Jess. How you doing, Bianca? How's everything? How's the summer?
Well, could be doing better. I'm not gonna tell a lie. Or is this gonna be quick, one of those things where I just say good?
No, tell us, man. To be honest, I don't. You don't have to.
No, you see somebody real quick. If you don't say good, like, I'm not trying to have a whole conversation with you. You know what I mean? Like, if I see you quick, how are you? Just say good. I don't care. You know what I mean? But anyway, since you care, yeah, no, I could be doing better.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. I know that you're a school teacher, and it's been probably a challenging time dealing with all the things that are coming towards you, especially doing what you do. How has I know, like, right now they're talking about sort of reopening everything. How's that on your mind? How are you feeling?
I think about it every day, probably all day. It's consuming me. I mean, I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna talk about coronavirus at all, like, I'm one of those people who's like super cautious. Like, I'm super concerned about it. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm masked up, quarantined up, like all the good stuff. And I also, just to be blatant, like, have anxiety, like suffer from like actual anxiety. Yeah. And it's not like, oh, like sometimes I get nervous. No, like, I have like anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. And I deal with it really well for the most part, but like things like this like have me on edge. So like something me and my therapist talk about is just like, okay, like I live my life kind of on a scale of 1 to 10, like on a normal happy day, like I'm at like a 3 or 4 on the anxiety scale. Right now during the Rona, like I'm like a 6 or 7 every day, which is like not good, you know what I mean? Because it takes like just something very little it's been real bad.
How do you calm yourself down when the anxiety starts to build up? I don't know if that's a personal question or I'm just curious because I'm curious because I have anxiety too, but I don't know if it's as severe as yours, but I know that sort of the painting and you using my creative side has helped me to sort of deal with the chaos that's happening. That's how I kind of, because I constantly have to, I'm curious, so I constantly have to be listening to the news, and not like in a sort of CNN 24 hours way, but every day, at least twice a day, I check up on what's happening. So yeah. I do find myself, when I do start getting to that point, I have to do something creative to sort of let my mind, calm down. So I'm just curious what you do.
Yeah. By the way, like if I look to the side like this, it's not because I'm trying to ignore you, but I'm on my porch and there's holes in the screen and there are birds flying around and it has happened before that a bird has flown into my porch. And because it's mostly screened, but there are a couple of cracks because of my dog, they get in and they don't know how to get out. And so if that happens to me, I will flip this entire table. My computer's gonna break. I'm gonna be out. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time.
Fingers crossed. I'm praying for the birds.
So for everyone, everyone out there, Bianca is extremely afraid of birds. She does not like them. She does not tolerate them in her life. She's very anti-bird.
There's no room for them.
She doesn't think birds' lives matter. She's just.
So do you have any exceptions? Are all birds bad?
All birds. All birds. A duck, definitely an ostrich, a chicken, a pigeon.
Scary,
yeah, I'm afraid of ostriches and chickens, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't.
They're terrifying.
You
also,
eat chickens,
like, I don't
eat
like
chicken,
the
though, right?
ones. Yeah. No, I eat chicken and everything, but
I mean, they are dinosaurs.
Don't come at me with a hummingbird. None of it.
Yeah, no, they are little fucking dinosaurs. Are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Sure, but let's keep it to a minimum as much as possible.
Yeah.
They're like gosh darn dinosaurs, Bianca. I'm with you.
They are. They're so creepy. They're like.
To continue on what we were saying, I was gonna ask Bianca, how is she afraid of hummingbirds? I understand ostrich because they are scary, as I get that with those big legs. I don't understand little tiny hummingbirds though.
I do get it though, Bianca, because they look kind of like giant bugs. Like when I first see a hummingbird out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, holy shit, holy gosh, that's a big dragonfly, you know. But then it's a bird, so I kind of.
What's crazy is that I'd rather it be a bug. Like, I'm honestly not scared of bugs. I would rather have. I would have a pet tarantula. Like, I have no problem with bugs, really and truly. Like, I have no problem with worms, snakes, other things that people are scared of. But birds, dog, no. I don't like. First of all, I don't like things that fly. So I really don't like flying bugs. But I'll still, whatever. I can swat it, whatever. A bird, I don't like feathers. I don't like the beaks, the talons, just the way that they move all robotically. They, no, I don't like it. I don't like that they chew up food and they put it in their kid's mouth. I think that's disgusting. Just everything about them, like, it's not okay.
It's more common than you think. There's more bird phobias than you think. I know people like that. Steve, what's his name? Who's the famous horror movie guy from back in the day who made the movie about it? Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, Hitchcock made a whole movie about being afraid of birds.
Yeah, they're disgusting.
Anyways. I
don't know what I was talking about before then.
We were talking about the Rones and all that stuff.
Rones.
Yeah. But Jacob was saying how we know each other. I know Bianca through the Carriage House, Everett Company Station School.
I even knew you before then.
Yes, because I lived with your cousin when I was young.
You were just that guy who lived in the basement.
I forever lived my life as the guy who lived in the basement.
He makes it look good, though, ladies and gentlemen. He makes it look good.
Of the guy who lives in the basement. But yes. And then, we did Everett for a bunch of years. I learned how to improv with Bianca. I knew Bianca's husband. I knew that I was there the first day they met. I knew that they were going to be. Yeah. Anyway, I helped.
Cleon is responsible for Bianca's marriage, is what he's trying to say.
That child is going to know.
5 people who believe that they're responsible for our marriage.
It takes a village. It takes a village, guys.
Bianca, I knew you and Matt. I was the plug between you two.
The plug between Bianca and Matt.
Anyways, Jake, I know Jake from passing. Jake,
I know feel Jake like Carriage House was the locus for us hanging out. I didn't really take classes there, but whenever there were events, I really liked it growing up, Well,
you were friends with Justine, whose name is on the bottom right there. So his name, so you see the name that says Justine Jungles. So that person, that's
my dear friend and roommate, Justine Jungles Bevilacqua.
Yes, and so I know Jake through passing, through like either hanging out with Justine, or when Jake would come to the Carriage House. Everett Company Station School is the proper name. So,
I just remember in high school often seeing you guys, like at parties or whatever, I'd often see you guys. So it's nice to reconnect. We've gone abroad.
And I'm also friends with Jake's brother. Like, I was friends with him in high school. There's like a lot of
connections. There's a lot of connections.
Also, if you're
out of Providence show.
Yeah, if you're out of state listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, we're from Rhode Island. It's a very tiny state. Everyone kind of knows each other in a way, especially if you live
I
in
don't go to
Providence.
the store with my mom anymore. Well, many reasons, but definitely I don't even like walking down the street with her. It's like every 2 seconds, hey, whose daughter are you? Who's your mother? Oh, I know your mother. I'm like, really? Like, no, it's so annoying.
All right, with that, we're going to head into the first portion of the show, which is called Random News. And in this part of the show, we just have a bunch of random news from the week, basically. A bunch of people were doing crazy shit, and we're going to fill you in. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is school kids. So we kind of touched on this a little bit. But the Republican governor of Missouri is pushing for children to return to school, while acknowledging that doing so is likely to result in mass spread of the coronavirus. So this guy is asking kids and asking parents to send their kids back to school, while he knows that there's a big chance that the kids might get infected. He specifically says, this is his quote, he says, "These kids have got to go back to school. They're at the lowest risk possible. And if they do get the COVID-19, which they will go to school." So he's saying that they are going to get it, and then they are going to head back to school. And even if they do go back to school, continuing his whole entire freaking thing that he's saying, they're going to go to hospitals, and they're going to have to sit and they're not going to have to sit in doctor's office. They're going to have to go home. So he's just basically saying that the kids are going to get sick, and they're going to have to go home, and they're not going to go to the doctor's office, and they're going to get rid of it by just hanging out at home, which is kind of asinine, because if the kids do get it and they do go back home, they're going to give it to their parents. So it just seems like, I don't know, I don't understand where this world is going, and how these people sort of think, you know?
I mean, I think you can kind of see it coming. I mean, I just see so many parallels between the Republican response to coronavirus and the Republican response to climate change. Like, in both cases, just this ideological commitment to not liking scientists it's just above everything else, and it's getting people killed. And yeah, I mean, it makes me shake my head, and like, we just got to beat them, you know. And I'm just praying every day. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get the presidency back, although I should knock on wood. I'm also praying we get the Senate back and flip some of these state governors, because I mean, obviously, like, Stacey Abrams should be governor of Georgia now, like, obviously, you know, and they're just mismanaging it. And yeah, makes you shake your head.
How do you guys feel about sort of the talk on opening schools and having kids go back?
I'm shook to the core, clearly. Like, even just, I'm just gonna separate my profession, because like, obviously I'm a teacher and I'll be on the front lines. But just to take away from that and looking at it at a community level, we're sending kids to school. What the science has told us is that we should be outside when possible. When we're in contact with people, being outside is better than being inside. We should be wearing masks, and we should be social distancing with 6 feet or more. They're literally going to be putting people in the opposite position when opening schools, like the exact opposite position. They're not mandating masks, at least in Rhode Island, as far as I know. They're not mandating them. I think they're recommending them, but they're not mandating them, which is a huge difference. Because when you tell a kid, hey, you got to keep your mask on, and they're like, well, what you going to do about it? Well, nothing. Oh, well, I'm taking my mask off. You know what I mean? So anyways, they're doing the exact opposite, which to me makes no sense on a much larger level. Like, we're going to have now community spread. They're going to go home. Now our hospitals are going to be, overpopulated. We're just going to be putting ourselves back at square one again, even with all of this great stuff we've been doing in this state to keep ourselves safe. It's like, I don't get it. Like, and they're talking about, like, there's so many things that they talk about as far as like, oh, but kids need to be in school for this, for their mental health, for nutritional needs and all of that, and mostly for childcare. And I feel like all of those things could be taken care of on a state level without putting them back in school.
Right.
Like, why don't we actually provide free childcare when needed? You know what I mean? And people can volunteer, not teachers, or teachers can, but people who are willing to be on the front line, they can go and be in these centers where kids will get help with their online learning, and they'll have the childcare. They'll be getting fed. They already had like a bunch of schools who were handing out free lunches and every day to the kids, and then giving them virtual telehealth where you're mandated to meet with I don't know, a therapist once a week for every kid. First of all, like, mental health wasn't even doing well when we were in school. Like, the kids weren't even getting the care they needed while we were in school to begin with. That already needed help. That already needed to be, you know what I mean, like, updated and everything else. So, I mean, all that stuff, trying to get kids back in school is garbage to me.
Yeah. And I also think the most important thing is health, right? If the most important thing is making sure that the kids are alive, to chance kids dying just because we want to get the economy started is just stupid and asinine. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand when this country turned into a place where kids don't even matter anymore. Like, the lives of kids is just sort of if some die, that's just part of it. It's the way it is. Like it does.
I mean, I'm mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I just want to push back. So I think what the Republicans are trying to do in the southern states, what Donald Trump is sometimes advocating, sometimes not, because he's inconsistent and a moron. But all that full reopening in these states that have really, really high rates is insane. And I think there's a good argument to be made that probably Florida, Texas will not be ready to reopen in any capacity in September. I'm not a public health expert. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. That being said, I think we need to, there are intermediate steps between just totally reopening and completely just doing what we've been doing with schools. I mean, Bianca made a great point. Like, we can get like a Job Corps type program, like get kids out of their houses, off the streets, like give them some things to do. Because the truth is, kids are dying as a result of not going to school. Like, serious accidents are up, serious both sexual and physical abuse in hospitals is really up, whereas arrests for that stuff is down. So there's evidence that a lot of students are being very acutely hurt by not having anything to do, no after school activities. And I think Bianca is right. Like, the federal government should, and the state governments as well, should take some of that burden off the school. But like, go on.
Sorry, the statement "kids are dying." Where are we getting this information? What do you mean? Like, kids are dying from?
That's a great question. So basically, poisoning, poisonings are up 20% across the country, and that's serious, and it's mainly affecting kids under 5. And the reason for this overwhelming, I mean, like, the statistics are still shoddy because it's like we're in the middle of a crisis, but like, the going theory is that there's a lot of people who are working full time, they have no childcare options, and basically they're having their 8-year-old look after the 3-year-old, and like, if you're doing that across the country,
that's a problem with the system, and not a problem, and not like, I don't like the statement like kids are dying because they're at home. Kids are dying at home because either their parents are negligent, because their parents don't have the ability, because of how this society's built, to be home to take care of their child. So that's not
110%, Clan, but like, all they have right now is the public school system. And we also have to realize that, like, we are not going to be able to rely on federal funding for anything until after November. So like, we are going to be in a really, really tight situation. I'm with you. Like, all the problems I'm describing, and also these bigger problems like illiteracy, which I also think are going up, also will probably go up. Illiteracy in this country pre-coronavirus was 14% adult illiteracy. Like, that is shameful. And you're right. Like, we should have been taking this seriously. We should have been taking childcare seriously before this. But like, the fact is, we just can't be like, well, it's not our fault to deal with. Like, we need, because I personally believe that we need to realize that if we completely don't open up schools, like, it will have some extremely negative effects.
It's irresponsible right now to open up schools because we don't have a plan. I hear some of the things that you're saying. Some of them I'm kind of sketchy on, but for me, the overall thing is that it is dangerous to put a bunch of kids in an environment where you're telling them, kids who are still learning to be humans, to not touch their friends, to not go and hug their friends, to not invade the space of their friends. Kids are not, they're not trained at this point to be able to even do that. If you work with kids as a person who work with kids on a daily basis, they don't have that. Their attention span is completely like, it's like 5 seconds and they forgot the last thing that you just said. So it is irresponsible for us to put hundreds and thousands of humans like that in a building and then try to run school like the way we have in the past. We don't actually have a plan. I don't care what's happening at home, and that's a terrible way to put it. I care that kids are being harmed at home, but I feel like it's more harmful. It's like saying, it's like you're in a sinking boat. It's like the option is to then jump into the water with the sharks surrounding you, that rather than try somehow to patch up the hole in the boat. That's what the solution is. We have a hole in our boat, and instead of trying to patch it up, we're letting the water come in, and we're like, the only option is to jump right into the water with the sharks. Like,
listen, I'm with you. It's a dangerous situation, and there's no good outcomes. Like, we're not going to have good outcomes here. Period. It's just like, what's the less bad?
No, but there's better. There is shitty outcomes, and there is
less shitty. No, I'm with you. I'm with you there. But what I'm saying is that what we have to remember is that the American people, every crisis we've faced, whether it was drugs, whether it was terrorism, I mean, not every crisis, but a lot of crises, we have taken muscular action and not thought through the unintended consequences. And what I truly believe is happening, I believe that kids are being underserved. They're being harmed acutely through accidents, poisonings. More importantly, they're being harmed through long-term things like illiteracy and numeracy, stuff like that. That burden is going to fall on the poorest, the most marginalized communities. And I just think we need to keep that in mind.
I'd rather have a gang full of dumb kids than a room of one genius. Like, my whole point stays the same, man. Like, I really understand that, but I think the most important thing is living. That out of everything, that is 100% the most important thing. And
right.
let me give you some facts.
Sorry, I was just going to point out that the argument against that, because I'm just trying to think, like, what are people in power thinking, or even scientists, because I know that even some pediatricians believe that it's best for them to go back to school, and the thinking there is that kids don't generally die from this, so that argument is going to be followed by the fact that the data shows that kids generally don't die. Some have.
Let me give you, okay, with that, can I, so to piggyback on what you're saying, so there's a study out of South Korea, and it's Korea.
Rhode Island, baby. Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
And things that end with an A, we put an ER, and things that end with an ER, we put with an A. Pizza.
Oh, God. So there's a study out of South Korea, and it says kids younger than 10 spread the disease less than half as much as adults. So kids less than 10, they spread it less than half than adults. But children above the age of 10, between 10 and 19, they can spread the virus at the same rate. So like maybe kids in like preschool or whatever, and even they can still get the disease but kids who are from 10 and beyond and above, they can get it at the same level as all the adults. So you're legitimately throwing a bomb into our world. You're literally saying, fuck it, let's just throw those kids into a room, into a building where they're just gonna touch, kiss each other, all that stuff. Kids, think about relationships. Teenagers in like their middle school relationships, you really think they're not gonna go make out with their boyfriends and girlfriends? And
I don't want to.
It's just asinine. We're not ready yet. I don't understand why we're talking about being ready when we can't even control. Literally, more people are dying every day. There's record numbers of people dying every day, and we're talking about opening up schools. Get the F out of here with that, man. That's stupid. That's dumb, man. We're being led by an idiot, and they're trying to manipulate us into thinking that it's okay to let kids die.
So one fear I have is like Donald Trump and the broader right are, like you said, just so idiotic and so out of control that sometimes I worry that as like progressives, we're just going to adopt the opposite position. And like, I want to be clear here. Like, I think all these fears I'm very alarmed by community spread linked to schools. But like the fact of the matter is that increased illiteracy leads to increased mortality. It leads to not only lives that are harder, but lives that are much shorter. And so we will, like the corona deaths, they're going to happen right now, you know, but these kind of long-term growths and deaths of despair, like so-called deaths of despair.
How is that more, can I ask you a question, Jake?
Yeah.
How is that more intense than right now? Like, I feel like we're thinking about the future when we should be thinking about right now. Like, how are we even going to get there if we're not solving the roadblock that's in front of us? It's like you just got into a car accident, and then instead of thinking about how you're going to heal up your insurance, how you're going to fix your car, you're thinking about something that's like right now. Like, it's, I get what you're saying, but that's not even important right now. Legit. Like, I don't give a damn if all the kids are illiterate. They're still alive. I guess I'm simple-minded, and I just think
no, you're not. You're not simple-minded. It's normal. All I'm saying is after 9/11, people were like, "Holy crap, we have this terrorism problem here. They just took down the 2 biggest buildings in New York. Whatever the government needs to do to stop this, do it. Like we can think about other things later." And like the fact is like we're still paying the price for that kind of emergency style thinking. And
that's
even
not the same thing that's happening right now, though.
I think there's similar dynamics, you know, just this.
Well, I want to move on, but
yeah, fair enough.
But in what way? Like,
I just think that whenever we're in a crisis, and this coronavirus, just the community spread, all that is the biggest crisis any of us have seen in our lifetimes, probably anyone around has seen in their lifetimes. But there is always a tendency to make disastrous decisions short term, like make decisions that seem right in the short term that end up to be disastrous in the long term.
but that's what Trump is doing.
No, I mean, Trump is making decisions that are disastrous in the short term and the long term. Like that's he's terrible. I'm just saying we need to be cognizant of the fact that mortality linked to not going to school will also rise. And we just have to balance that.
Can I make one last point though?
Yes,
Here's
ma'am.
the thing. I think that there are very smart people in this world, and I think that missing a couple of months of school can be remediated. I do feel that way. I feel like if we actually had the correct resources and school was actually performed in the way that it really should be, we should, like, I've seen some kids, and I'm not going to toot my own horn, but when I was a math teacher, I was able to take kids who were on a second grade, who came into my classroom, my 8th grade classroom, on a second grade level of math, where like they literally were using a calculator to do 10 plus 3 type of thing, to the point where they were solving 2-step equations. And that's like years of growth in 1 year. You know what I mean? And that absolutely can be done if you have good teachers and you have the correct things. Like maybe this means that summer school next year will be mandated for all kids. And that time period could definitely allow for a bunch of learning to happen. And that would suck, you know what I mean, to enforce summer school or whatever, but like if it saves lives, and it saves lives, and it will save the other things that you're talking about. I just think that there's like creative ways to think about all of this than to just stuff kids back into a coronavirus classroom.
I agree, Bianca. All right, we're gonna move on to the next topic. It's called authoritarian violence. My friends, Trump, our president, so he's sending unidentified gunmen to Washington, and he's also sending them to Portland to capture people, put them in trucks and vans, and drive them off. They have been, I think, I don't know how many times this has happened or when it started. I don't have the information on that. But yeah, that's been a thing that's been happening, which is scary as hell. It's just like, I don't understand the systems in this country that allows things like that to happen. And all we can do is sort of talk about it. We like can't. How can we not get that thing to stop? How can we, like? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. And maybe
vote in November.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about the things that we sort of have been taught in school, like that there is checks and balances, and like. If anything, Trump's presidency has shown us that that is not a thing. There is no legit check and balance. It's just all about the person in power, if they have a conscience or not. Like,
I mean, I think there have been some checks on Donald Trump's power. I mean, the military refused to back him when he wanted to clear out protesters, so he had to go to federal right? I mean, I think some institutions have done fairly well.
I don't know anything about that.
I think that's both. Nope. But like, if that was the case, he would have been like, no. So many things he's been allowed to do. Like, I disagree 100%.
I mean, the real disappointing thing for me is Congress and the Senate, because they're the. I mean, I think you have a real good point with them, because the Republicans in the Senate and the House, they're totally putting party and just their short-term political aims over country or over any sense of patriotism, right? Like that. So yeah, I agree with you. And yeah, I think there is a problem with Republicans. But
wait, what was that last part? If there's,
I think there is a problem with Republicans in this country. Like, I think they consistently put party over country,
which is sad. Like,
and you know what I hate when people are like, oh, like I'm like economically or politically a Republican, but I'm also like a liberal when it comes to like social issues. Like, what are you talking about? What? Because like on Facebook, like you posted like R.I.P. George Floyd, like, like, but like you go behind our backs and you vote for people who like do these things. It's just insane to me.
Yeah, I don't understand how that's possible. How that's like, it doesn't make sense in my brain, but somehow they can rationalize it. But I don't know.
I mean, there are definitely people out there who aren't bigoted, but just make a lot of money and only vote like about their taxes. And I think that's morally wrong, but yeah, there are people out there. Yeah.
It is totally morally wrong. And I hate when people act like they have good morals, but that they do that. Like, protecting your money at the cost of people's lives and livelihoods is wrong.
I mean, I never made enough money to vote Republican, so I can't judge somebody. But
that's the thing, Jake. As soon as Jake starts making real cash, Jake is flipping.
Oh my God! You'll never see me again.
So you're never liberal. What? Peace. What?
I feel like I kind of have a Republican haircut now. All my haircuts look like Republican haircuts.
Republican haircut.
I think I look kind of like Paul Ryan, a more handsome version.
Obviously more handsome.
Yeah, he's like Bizarro Jake Lippincott, as far as I'm concerned. My mother's from Milwaukee too. So.
Good God.
Yeah, no, these attacks on protesters in the Pacific Northwest are horrible. The scariest thing to me is they seem to be coordinated with the police unions. Apparently, these federal goon squads, they were made of ICE and TSA and some other folks. The mayor and the police chief would not talk to these people, like stay out of the city. But the heads of the police unions were like, come on down, you know? And that's like a consistent thing where police unions, more so than police departments, are just really, really regressive and really just blocking change that needs to be made and just working with the most regressive actors in the federal government as well. And yeah, it's not good, not great.
Oh, yeah, that's intense, man. I wish somehow we had a way to stop those kinds of things from happening, but I don't know. I don't think, like I said, like you were saying that there's checks and balances. I just don't think that there really are checks and balances anymore. It's like this made up thing, because then it's either one thing, right? It's either a made up thing or America's extremely racist and all these people are okay with every fucking thing this dude is doing and has been doing and continues to do.
Well, America is extremely racist, Clam. Like, it goes with that. But regardless of how checks and balances are working, I mean, I think it's safe to say.
All right. So that was that. We're going to move on to a lighter topic in our random news portion. So I don't know if you guys know this. I found about this morning, but Mike Tyson is getting back into the ring, guys. Are you guys excited?
I've heard this a few times. I have strong feelings about Mike Tyson. He's my favorite boxer of all time. I don't want to talk any shit about Mike Tyson because I'm desperately afraid of the man. But no, because I love the guy. But when you look at his podcast, like, he's definitely been hit on the head. Have you guys? I don't know. His later statements, it's a little all over the place.
I've heard his podcast before, but I don't know. I haven't heard it recently. What is he?
First of all, I don't think it has anything to do with him being hit in the head. Mike Tyson is an avid weed smoker, and he also dabbles in licking frogs. So I think Mike Tyson is just at another state of being that we're just not privy to. So
he's enlightened. He's enlightened.
He's a what?
He's enlightened.
Yes, way more enlightened than we could ever be.
Another level.
I don't know if you've seen this, but you should. I saw a clip of him like working out, like doing some like with one of his trainers. Yo, intense, scary. Like the way he's swinging, I'm like, he's 54 years old, and I do not want to get hit by that 54-year-old at all.
No.
Just violent.
He might be more strong now than he used to. Yeah.
Old man strength.
Yeah.
I mean, his highlight reel from the 80s, he looks like a great white shark. Like he looks like, he doesn't look like a boxer. He looks like a fucking devouring beast, just killing the other boxers. It's amazing. I love.
So he's gonna be facing Roy Jones Jr. So Mike Tyson is 54 and Roy is 51 years old.
I hope they're careful, man. I love combat sports. I do both Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or I did before coronavirus ruined my life. And you got to be real careful about brain injuries with that. I just hope Mike is getting a lot of money for it because they deserve it. They really.
I don't want him to. I feel like because I listen to his podcast, and I feel like he's in a space where he's at peace with himself, or trying to be at peace with himself. And a lot of times when people talk about him boxing, he talks about it as if it's something that he's ashamed of, right?
100%.
He's not necessarily the most proud of that era in his life because of the drugs and his state of mind.
Bad behavior, yeah.
I'm mostly worried that he's just going, like, it's gonna fuck up his whole, like, the energy that he's trying to produce right now.
No, I know what you mean, and that is a good point. I was talking about how he's acting a little weird on his podcast, but no, he's made an amazing transformation as a man, and that's actually, despite all the silly stuff, like hearing him talk about how he went from like a very, very troubled person in the 90s to like someone who seems like they kind of pretty much emotionally have their shit together. It is really inspiring. I know what you mean. Like I hope this doesn't derail that in any way.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see it. Would you, any of you guys, any of you guys pay to see this? Or what if a friend invited you over their house to watch Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones?
110% I would watch that fight. I mean, I feel very ambiguous about both the NFL and fight sports. I love both of them, and they obviously have some moral ambiguity. But yeah, I would absolutely watch it. I couldn't turn that down.
That should be the tagline for America.
Moral ambiguity.
Great, but morally ambiguous.
Yeah. I was talking to my mom the other day about how I'm not gonna allow my son to play football. Like, I don't care. He can beg, cry, he can kick and scream. Like, you can play guitar.
Yeah.
Listen, honestly, when my grandfather was growing up, boxing was common. Like my grandfather boxed all the time. His nose was all fucked up. It wasn't uncommon. It was seen as a cool sport to get your like 12, 13-year-old. Then we saw what happened to Ali and Tyson to some extent, and all of a sudden that stuff's shut down. I would not be surprised by the time Ali is 13, 14 if it's like flag football or nothing. I mean, who knows? Right.
It should be. It shouldn't even be allowed anymore.
I mean, in Texas, they're going to be tackling each other to like the fucking world end.
Well, because they're even saying even the small hits matter. Like, it's not just the giant, like, bone crushing hits. It's even the little, like, even that's terrible for your brain.
Yeah.
Because of my interest in combat sports, I'm really interested in the literature about concussions and what it does. And we know nothing. You're right. It's like, it seems like small hits, like if you do it enough, are probably pretty bad. But yeah. Yeah, so it's just too bad because baseball and soccer are boring to me. I need some of that.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are interested in this pay-per-view match, it happens September 12th. So
dog, we should live stream it, dog. Coffee Milk should live stream it.
You have nothing to do, or even if you do have something to do, you should probably be at home watching Mike Tyson and Roy Jones go at it.
I am very interested in it. I hate watching stuff like that. I actually did do boxing for like a year or two. I can't even remember.
Bianca stays knocking dudes out.
Like, I definitely will rock you. Please.
I'm not joking. I'm just warning. I'm warning the people.
Yeah, I will rock you if I have to. However, watching people fight to honestly hurt each other, like without protective gear, like that, like, ooh, like I can't deal with it. It's too much anxiety. Like, why are you doing? Like, I couldn't actually get in a fight with someone. That's why, like, my trainer would always be like, "Oh, you want to do a fight?" And I'm just like I would have to get revved up. Like, she would have to say something about my mom's. You know what I mean? She'd walk out, like we'd be in the locker room. She'd be like, "Yo, you know what I mean? Your mom's a hoe. Now we're going." You know what I mean? Like, or something like that. But like just to fight someone like off rip, I'm like, I can't do that. I'd be like, ooh, I'd be like, sorry, like I can't do it.
The punch. That punch is
Sorry.
hilarious.
Didn't mean to.
Bianca's out here acting like a killer, but she can't even punch people.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's just
I
don't.
can't. You just gotta call my mom a hoe.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Bianca, yeah, guys, I wouldn't believe that. That's a sort of false sense of security type thing. She's just lulling you into safety, making you think you're safe, but truly she will murder you. I don't believe that.
Yes.
whatsoever.
Yes, and verbally I'll murder you. Even you won't even want to fight me physically. I'm just gonna just demolish you. Just your whole character's goodbye.
When I was younger, I tried to do boxing. I wasn't emotionally there to do boxing at that age because the first ever sparring match I had with this kid who just kept punching me in the face, and I kept trying to punch him back, but for some reason I wasn't able to, and he just kept punching me in the face. I got super frustrated. And I fucking ripped off my shit. I was walking out of there, and I like slammed the door. And mind you, the door is made of glass. And guess what glass does when it's stopped forcefully? It shatters.
Clayon was not invited back.
Basically, they were like, yeah.
It's so funny because you could have taken that anger and like actually hit the kid back, but you're like, no, screw this door.
I couldn't touch him. I was trying. It wasn't like I wasn't trying.
I've been there, Clayon. You get the angrier you get, the harder you whiff. It's terrible. It's a good metaphor for life.
You guys ever had those types of dreams or nightmares rather, where you're in a fight and you just can't hit hard enough? Like it's so frustrating when someone's like rocking you and you're like, you feel like you're giving it your all and it's like nothing. Oh my God. Those dreams make me just want to off myself in the morning. Just goodbye, cruel world. I can't.
What's worse, those dreams or birds?
Well, certainly birds.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next story. So this one's entitled "Sex Shop." So a mass thief is still at large after he casually walked out of a Las Vegas adult store in broad daylight with a 3-foot, 40-pound dildo.
Why does that exist?
I don't know.
If you have to ask, then you just simply can't.
You want to know the name of this? You want to know that they have the name for the dildo? Can anyone guess what the name of the dildo is?
Mike Tyson.
I don't know. I don't want to. All my guesses are politically incorrect.
It's called, and it's so obvious once you hear it. It's called the Moby.
The Moby. That's a good one.
The Moby. Love it.
A man stole this.
A man.
I guess, of course, it was a man. Of course.
He carried it on his shoulders too. It's if you go to like YouTube TMZ, he hoists the huge thing on his shoulder, and he just like casually walked out of there.
Was it floppy or was it like a club?
How could that thing be floppy?
I don't know.
How could a 3-foot dildo be floppy?
Listen, I've never bought a 3-foot dildo. I just don't know what they look like. I'm just not in the market for them.
He's trying to throw us off your sign.
I'm more into improvising, vegetables, stuff like that,
Ooh.
Yeah. So this dildo costs $1,000, so $1,250.
What is possibly in a dildo? It's only 3 feet tall, you said?
It's 3 feet. Yeah, 3 feet tall.
How could that? It's a G.
Is it what?
It's over $1,000.
Yes.
Yeah, they deserve to be robbed. Because what can it be? It's like silicone. It's like literally like a pound of silicone. Like that's
right.
I don't know.
Also, who's in use for a 3-foot dildo? Like that's. I feel like there's like a small group of people that for like that's a thing. Like that's a intrigue.
Of interest, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Human sexuality is a beautiful, diverse thing, Clayon. Who are we to? Who knows how many people are into 3-foot dildos?
Very true, but that's why you know it was a man who did it, because a woman would be like, "Oh hell no, I'm all set."
I don't know, man.
Maybe he just wanted it as a talk piece for his coffee table. He just put it there to start conversation.
It's a piece of artwork.
So about that big ass dick in the corner.
That Moby to you, sir.
Yes.
We're gonna move on to the conversation about Mr. Kanye West. Have you guys sort of have been listening to or
Free
watching
Kanye, guys.
the chaos. What'd you say?
I said free Kanye.
From his mind.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
sad, dude.
I haven't really been paying close attention because I, like, despite it all, have always been a fan of him, not
100.
of the person, of his music. And so I really have a hard time, because the thing is, I know he has mental health issues. So who even cares what he says? But I also get that he has a platform and some people do care what he says. And that's sad for them that they are influenced by him. But
How do you justify still sort of rocking with Kanye?
because he has mental health issues, period, and that's like been very clear.
And his music is still dope. Like,
and he hasn't done anything that, like, you know, he's not like R.Kelly, you know what I mean? Who's like, okay, he's canceled, period. He's literally sexually assaulted women and girls. Kanye West says,
not even the same ballpark. It's not even
right.
the same ballpark.
Kanye West says things that make me want to shake him, right? That make me want to slap him. He says things. He hasn't done anything necessarily that is harmful to society, as far as I know. I could be ignorant.
Listen, I don't feel mad at Kanye. I feel pity for him, you know, because we're all the generation. I don't know about you guys, but like College Dropout was like a huge album for me. And especially then, like, it wasn't a time when there were a lot of emotionally available rappers, you know, and like as hip hop fans, it was just such a breath of fresh air, you know.
Right.
And it's almost like the opposite of what's happening with Mike Tyson. Like, we saw Mike Tyson in the 90s and stuff, acting insane, biting dudes' ears off, and he's found that peace. It seems like with Kanye, it's just the opposite, and I'm not mad at him. It's not like, oh, fuck him, I'm going to stop listening to his music. I'm like, I hope he gets better. You know?
I guess my frustration, and I while understanding that he has mental issues, is that he doesn't seem to want to listen to anyone. He doesn't want to listen to new information. And that frustrates me. It's like I have empathy towards him and what he's dealing with. And I think he's dealing with a lot more in his life than we're privy to.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, though, I get mad because he consistently keeps doing these things, right?
I agree.
It's not like he did it once or twice, but like legit every new album, every time he's about to get an offer or something, it's like he's consistent with the just not learning from his old mistakes. And for me, that's frustrating, and it's hard for me to give empathy as a person who constantly tries to find empathy for humans. It's harder and harder the more he keeps adding and not trying to become a better person. Like, he needs help, man.
Maybe we differ on this, but for me, I wouldn't invite the guy over to my house for dinner. But like, I will listen to his music, and there are a lot of artists like for me. But because I'm with you, I mean, it is frustrating to watch, right? Because he has such a huge platform, so many resources.
And I'm not gonna lie, like, I'd listen to his old stuff. None of the gospel stuff. That's just not my. I
didn't cop that album either, actually.
But anything before that, after the last album he dropped, before that, yes, I'll listen to him. I think you should separate the artists. I don't think there's anything wrong with separating the artists from their art. Sometimes, right? It depends on.
Like R.Kelly got to be canceled.
I mean, the crazy thing about R.Kelly is every one of his songs is about molesting young girls. Like, when you listen to it now, it's like, holy crap! Like, I had no idea.
Right, you're sticking the keys in whose ignition?
Yeah, age is just a what? Yeah,
wait
a minute. Oh, hell no.
But so back to Kanye. I'm with the audio, and I wouldn't love, but I would encourage you guys to go and listen to it.
Hey.
Oh, no, there's a bird. Wait a minute. Okay, no, we're good. We're safe. Sorry. It landed right on the bush right there. Like, it was like looking to enter.
You should get a BB gun, Bianca, and just bring the war to the birds.
Dude, here's the thing. I really hate to see dead birds.
They're even worse.
They like look disgusting. Their like wings are all spread out, and they're like dead. Oh, disgusting. Okay, sorry. Go back.
Your complicated relationship with not liking them but not wanting to see them dead. That's weird. But I guess I don't even remember what my point was that I was trying to make.
You were saying the audio of Kanye something.
Oh yeah, like the most recent ones, it's just like it hurts my soul to listen to it because he just sounds like he needs time to go away, deal with these individual issues that he has. He was talking about his dad wanting to abort him,
And
trying to convince his mom to abort him, and he was talking about him trying to convince Kim to abort his daughter. Like he's talking about these issues to people that I don't think care that much. And the way he's just the man, if you could hear his cry, it's just so guttural. So I don't know, man. It's just I feel for it, the dude.
I feel like Kanye is in pain a lot, you know, and like he like his way of expressing himself like is insane. His music is phenomenal, I think, but like other than that, like he like if he's not doing music, I don't think he knows what to do with himself.
it's also
doesn't know what to do with himself.
like this has been going on since like Renaissance artists. I think Michelangelo was like this as well. Like Kanye West, when he was younger, when he was just like rising up through Rockefeller Records, for a summer he locked himself in a bedroom of his mother's house and like produced 1 or 2 like quality hip hop beats a day. But like it was something along those lines. Like that is a lot of times people who have that creative output. I'm not a doctor, but I've heard that a lot of times people with that kind of creative output are bipolar. You know. And yeah, I mean, without a doubt, he is. You know, everyone. You know, he said it. Kim has said it. You know,
right. And I really liked Kim's message that she put out recently about it. You know, she's like being very honest. And
I want to hate Kim Kardashian so much, but she's like,
she's kind of
cool.
Solid.
Yeah, solid is a good word. Yeah, she's pretty solid.
She might be a nice person. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Kim, like I said, I don't have it prepared here because I was gonna play the audio of it and not.
We could edit it in later if you want.
But yeah. But he then within this week went on a whole rant about Kim and Kim's
My
mom.
favorite rapper.
Your
Meek
favorite
Mill?
rapper.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh yes, and Meek Mill. Yeah. I was so confused. I'm like, wait, what?
I thought you were saying Kim was your favorite rapper. I was like, wait a minute.
She's my favorite film actor.
I hate you.
So he went on this whole rant, and it seems like he doesn't trust Kim, and he doesn't trust her family, and he seems like he wants to get a divorce from Kim. To be honest, like he seems like some of the stuff he's talking about how he wanted to divorce her, but somehow she didn't allow it. I don't know, but he just went on a whole intense rant about his life, and it just seems like his relationship isn't in a good place. And he's not in a good place mentally. And I don't understand how, and this is how it is for famous people, man. I don't understand how the people around him don't sort of take him to the side and be like, hey, bud, you need to take a couple of months off and just work through these things. You need to take a year off or something.
I feel like people do though. Like we don't see it, obviously. Like to me, Kim's message made me feel like not bad for her, but made me understand like her a little bit more, and like I think she does try to deal with him and does try to calm him down. Like she knows this is not a good look. Like to me, Kim seems like somebody who's like like she's superficial and all of that, but she like is there. It seems like mentally she seems like she like has her shit together somewhat, even though she's been famous for so long. And I think she probably has, and I think other people probably have. But like imagine like you and I know people, like I think we all know people who you're just like, whoa, that person's kind of batshit crazy. Like there's not much you can do about it. Like unless that person truly recognizes it within themselves and like really reaches out for the help themselves, it's damn near impossible to get someone the treatment that they need just with you trying to convince them.
Right.
Like, they really have to believe it. And I do think that Kanye knows that he has some mental instabilities. I don't know. I think when he's in one of those like manic states, I don't think he can like see outside of himself. I think he feels very righteous in what he does.
I agree.
And you know, I just think to some, I mean, you know, we all have loved people with mental illnesses, you know, and it's really, like Bianca said, it's really hard. I mean, this is a common response. Like these people are trying to change me. These people are trying to like gaslight me or whatever. Like that's something that people with mental illness also often say. And it's even worse when you're like Kanye, you have millions of dollars and you can buy yes men, you know,
Power,
like
yeah.
think about all the great celebrities, like all the celebrities we love who we lost to drugs, like all of those folks had people in their life being like, stop it. But they were, in most cases, were able to pick their friends, basically, pick their friends around their abuse.
All right. Well, you know, that's that. I hopefully, you know, hopefully he somehow works through all that, because I just think it's important that he does that, man. Ugh, sucks. So we're going to, all right. So we're going to try this out for the first time, called Convince Me. So this is a segment of the show I call Convince Me. And this is where we're going to use our improv skills and our quick thinking skills. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to have 3 different subjects, from food, artists, and a miscellaneous thing. Since I have it right here, I'm going to be the judge. And you guys are going to have to convince me. So you're either going to be, one person's going to be pro the argument or the thing, and the other person's going to be anti. So you have to convince me why, if you're anti, why it's terrible for you. And if you're pro, you have to convince me why it's good.
What if we both feel like we're anti?
I'm the judge. Wait, no, but that's the whole point. You have to argue against your own, like, so if you truly do like this thing, you have to find a way to argue against it.
Okay.
All right, let's give it a try, baby.
We're gonna give it a try. All right, so the first thing that I have for you guys, who wants to be pro? First, I'm gonna ask that, who wants to be pro and who wants to be anti. So you're gonna be pro.
Ladies' choice.
Anti for the entire thing. So who?
Ladies'
Bianca,
choice.
So I don't know what the subject is, but I have to pick
the whole thing.
Oh my God. All right. I'll be anti.
Obviously, of course she wants to be
so
anti.
Jake is pro. All right, so now the first thing we're gonna do is food. So you have to convince me, Bianca, you're anti, right?
Yeah.
You have to convince me why ice cream is terrible, okay? And Jake, you have to convince me why ice cream is the bomb, okay? Why it's the shit, why I need it in my life, all right?
Ladies first.
Going first. I have to go first.
I can go first. It's easy, dog. I'm pro ice cream. Listen.
Okay.
Life is short. Coronavirus is going to kill us all. We might as well enjoy ourselves. You know, liquor sales are way up, and ice cream is kind of like a sweet, creamy form of liquor. You know, if you're lactose intolerant, which I know many in our community are, you know, there's soy. Do they have oat ice cream yet? I don't know, but there's soy ice cream. There are non-dairy alternatives. It's great on a warm summer's night if you're watching the sunset. I think I made my point pretty well.
Yeah, well, okay. Next time we're gonna have like 30 seconds for you to make that point. All right, Bianca, why are you anti ice cream? To the points that he says, why do you think I should not even try to eat ice cream?
Well, you're Black, so you're most likely lactose intolerant. Let's be clear, most likely. And if you're not yet, then you probably will be in the next 10 years. So, you know, you're going to definitely have the runs and the bubble guts and everything else. Also, ice cream is kind of like a whack dessert when you think about it. If you're going to go for a dessert, there's so many better things that you can go for. Like, to me, ice cream is like cold, and it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of bland. There's so many other flavors to explore. So many other textures to explore, like the creaminess. I mean, if you like creamy in your mouth.
You're right. I don't know if I like creamy in my mouth. I am heterosexual.
Listen, guys, it's 2020. I wish you guys would, be a little more tolerant now.
I see.
People do, and
All right.
Okay.
All right, I heard both your points, but I think Bianca did a better job convincing me that ice cream is worse for me. She said that I'm lactose intolerant, which I am.
Soy ice cream. I directly.
But ice cream is just.
That sounds gross.
I was vegan
Plus,
for almost
soy
10 years.
messes up your hormones.
That part, and I still haven't had kids yet, and would love to try in the future. So I'm gonna go with Bianca. Bianca won that round with convincing me that ice cream is terrible. So the next thing we're gonna do, artists. So Bianca, you're still anti, and Jake, you're still pro. Please, Jake, convince me why Terry Crews is awesome for me. Like, why is he great for the Black community? Why he's great for people, humanity as a whole? Why he's a great actor? Just please convince me why Terry Crews is awesome.
Okay, so I'm much more knowledgeable on ice cream than I am on Terry Crews. But let's be real.
I feel like we need more privy on Terry Crews.
Nah. Terry Crews. Terry Crews is easy to speak
I
up
know
for.
who he is.
Have you ever seen Terry Crews without a shirt on, Cleon? He's a beautiful man.
I've seen him.
He's
yeah,
really
also.
good with some body oil. You know, he rocks it. And unlike most bodybuilders who are just fucking annoying and like you never want to talk to him, he's funny as shit.
True.
And I don't really know what he's saying on Twitter. I just know he's very opinionated. And I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about what he says on Twitter. But you know, we need more crazy funny bodybuilders spouting off insane traditions.
Do we?
I don't know that much about it.
That's tough. That last part.
Yeah, if you didn't let me sell ice cream, I'm not gonna be able to sell you Terry. I mean, I love the guy. You know, he's a funny dude. But
all right, Bianca, why is Terry Crews awful for me? Why should I not want Terry Crews in my life?
First of all, if anybody like dances with their pecs, like they're canceled. That's disgusting.
Why? We worked hard for those pecs.
They look gross. Like they don't look healthy. Like they actually like look bad. But also I feel like, you know, he takes on a lot of stereotypical roles for Black men, and he
In what way? Can you give me an example?
like the tough dad on Everybody Hates Chris, or the rich guy who only dates white people in White Chicks. That might be my only thing that I've got there. I actually love him. He's hilarious.
All right. Well,
what does he tweet about? Go on. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jake.
Oh, I was asking. He's been in the news about his tweets, and I just didn't read what it was about. What's he been tweeting about?
He's been very sort of anti-Black Lives Matter.
I see.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I do know he was like part of the Me Too movement, which was also like a weird, like
he was
controversial thing, which is like, oh, a man part of the Me Too movement.
Because he got Me Too, or he did the Me Too. I don't know he did a Me Too?
He got sexually assaulted, basically.
Yeah, he got sexually assaulted. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah, we might as well not use euphemisms for these kinds of things. But yeah.
But Jake won that one for me. I think Jake.
Please. This is fake news, dog. He's rigging it, dog.
I actually love
him. I was like, Terry Crews, he looks good when you grease him up.
the whole point about like his pecs looking good worked for me. Bianca shaming his body, that didn't work for me. You know, I just felt like, why, Bianca? The guy worked hard. You can't just shame him because he worked hard for his muscles. So Jake won that one for me. All right, and the miscellaneous one. So you guys are gonna. So Bianca, you're actually Jake. You're gonna convince me why the Crip, why it's the best gang around. And no, I'm joking.
What's cracking, cuz? I was getting ready.
You can't be out on these streets after.
Yeah. Guys, I love everyone. No affiliations. Just joking.
So the last one is actually Legos. Sorry. So Bianca, you have to convince me why Legos suck, why they're terrible, and Jake, please convince me why I need more Legos. I should get.
Am I going first again? Because this is easy.
No, Bianca's gonna go first this time since you went first last time.
As to why Legos are bad?
Yeah, you're anti-Lego.
Oh, well, that's very, very obvious. When you step on them, your foot hurts very badly. It's a huge annoyance in a household. First of all, you always lose them. They're always randomly thrown somewhere. You may suck them up in the vacuum by accident, ruin your vacuum. But like I said, the worst thing is stepping on them. You may have to amputate your foot. I mean, it could be a real accident there. On top of that, like the things that they make are not that interesting to look at. Personally, I would prefer other forms of art.
Got it.
All right. Sorry. Go on. Yo, Legos are the best toy in the world. They teach creativity. They teach just kind of independent thinking, abstract thinking. I used to get my Legos and I'd like make or even the off-brand Legos. You get the off-brand Legos, you make the thing on the directions, and then you make your own fortress and just build cities and stuff. And also, finally, the world is a cold, hard place, and stepping on my own Legos in the dark taught me that at a very young age. And I'm constantly thankful for Legos for teaching me that life's a bitch and then
prepared you for Donald Trump.
Exactly. For all this bullshit.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. The winner for that last one is Jake, of course, because come on, Bianca, come on. I was surprised. I thought Bianca was gonna kill this game.
She just needs to be warmed up. You need to get some more Bianca friendly, because obviously she wasn't playing with Legos as a little girl.
Right, but that's the whole
How
point.
is
The whole
that
point is-
obvious? Whoa, sexism.
That's true. I'm sorry.
Oh my god! All right,
I'll
well,
step back.
it's been a fun first show. But before we do the whole wrap up thing, I want to end off with the last segment, and the last segment is entitled "Bianca, Birds Are Like Really Cool." So this is where, at the end of the show, I'm gonna try to convince Bianca that birds are cool. You know, they're just living creatures who are trying to feed their family. That's all. So the bird that we're going to focus on is called the budgies. So it's a common parakeet, and they are. Let me see. This is why they're interesting. So budgets or budgies, as they call them, they are the first birds who might be able to show empathy. So how they show empathy is that they yawn when the other birds yawn. So let's say they're on like a limb or something, and one little budgie yawns, then another bird's budgie yawns because they're what do you call it? I don't want to say yawns are contagious, but they
are though, right? Yawns are contagious in humans, yeah.
And only humans, dogs, chimps, lab rats, and now budgies are the only animals that sort of have that trait where if one person yawns, they catch it. So they're showing empathy, Bianca. Birds are showing empathy.
Okay,
that's why you should love birds.
That is not convincing to me at all. I don't want to see birds yawn, opening your big old nasty beak and everything else. Breath probably stinks. You're out there eating dookie and everything else.
Dookie.
Bunch of dookie eating birds, Cleon. Go on, Bianca.
Dookie. I've never watched a nature series.
They're eating worms that may or may not have feces on it from other animals' droppings. That's disgusting. They don't wash it. They don't wash the worms off.
But isn't empathy important in a creature or an animal?
I just want to say, Clan, yawning when another motherfucker yawns is a low bar for empathy. I just wanted to say that.
That's a fact. And if they had empathy, they wouldn't come around me. They would say, wow, she's not about our lives. I'm going to leave her alone. But they don't leave me alone. In fact, I think they're drawn to me because when I used to go to Kennedy Plaza, it would be a problem. Every pigeon in the plaza would come through near me.
I think it was your paranoia, bro. I just think they were just, maybe you had bread on you or something. They just.
No, I don't know, because why do birds be coming on my porch? I even had an incident. Oh my God, just last week, birds were in my chimney. And I was hearing, I was like, what the? I'm getting all paranoid. I'm like, am I hearing shit? No, it was in my chimney, stuck.
Yo,
and, why come in my chimney? There's hella chimneys on this street.
Bianca, I think it's hilarious that when people see, like, if you're watching a movie, right? You ever watch a movie and they have the scene where there's like a meadow and you hear like the song like, ah, and the birds chirping in the distance. Everyone is looking at that as beautiful, and Bianca just sees like a hair.
I actually have a bird question for Bianca. Do you hate bird song or just seeing birds? Like, do you hate hearing them?
Oh, definitely. I don't like anything about them.
Word.
I don't like one thing about them. Granted, I would rather hear them than see them if I had a rather situation. Yeah. But like, yeah, like I don't want to see them. Out of sight, out of mind, out of my ears, out of my soul. Like I just don't know. Like they're just ooh. Mm-mm.
Thank you guys very much for joining us this week. Please come back next week and the week after that. We'll be here with all our opinions. Bianca's smiling face will be here. Jake and his armpits.
My scowl.
He will be here in a scowl. And I will be here just, sitting at Native American style. On
Great fucking headband, by the way. I just want to give you love for the headband.
That's my new thing now, just headbands.
Dude, I've been rocking them too. I wanted to have the more polished look today, but when I saw you, I was like, shit, I should have come on with a headband too. But it's better I didn't.
Will you get poly?
Cool. Well, I guess how they say this on YouTube all the time, so I guess I'm going to say it. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, please. And remember, don't get upset. It's just a matter of opinion. This has been Coffee Milk. Bye, guys.
Hey, I got an opinion, and I'm gonna say what's on my mind. You might not agree, it's cool. I'm one of a kind. Trying to move forward, so I gotta be progressive. Gotta make sure everything I say is selective. It's only my opinion. Coffee milk.